Hello, I'm Dr. Megan Monday, and today I have a really juicy topic. One of the things that I have totally been working on in my business, it's consistency. And so if you have like a visceral reaction to consistency, like it feels like control or rules or caged in, and you're like me, and maybe you're a free spirit or a rebel, I've got to reframe mindset, and I'll even maybe do a little bit of tapping there at the end to get you feeling good about consistency. I've definitely been on a healing journey with that. If you don't know me, I'm Dr. Megan Monday. I am the pleasure psychologist, and I have been a practicing business owner for 12 years. I did have to learn consistency in academia, but it was like dark academia, and it sort of made me, when I got on my own and I didn't have to jump through all these hoops, I really rebelled against it. And yet, consistency is a cornerstone of having a successful business. So, let's talk consistency and how to reframe it in a way that feels good. The way that I like to reframe it is to show up. So, you may know that I am launching Fearless Feminine. This is maybe the seventh round of Fearless Feminine. And we work with a lot of healers, creatives, neurodiverse, aspiring and business owners that are converting to taking their business online. And we talk about feminine power. And when I think of consistency, it feels very masculine, like check the box, like maybe anal, like analytical. And I think that that's my immediate visceral repulsion to it. Um, and Capricorn rising here, so I do know a little thing about consistency. And so I want to kind of talk to ways to like put it on your own terms. As you know, part of my launch has been the 75 hard, and boy, that has been teaching me a ton about consistency. And I think it's basically just looking at what are your non-negotiables. If you don't know what the 75 hard is, it's kind of an extreme workout program and you have to do a certain amount of things every day. Otherwise, you start over at day one, hence the consistency part. It is a mental toughness challenge, which is really about just getting those habits in place. And so that has really been cementing my enthusiasm and passion for consistency, which I previously hated. And that actually is the theme of this round of Fearless Feminine. So, my first mindset shift around consistency is to just look at it as showing up, okay? And I was just having a conversation with a client earlier about when you have a passion project, when you have a soul led business, you're passionate about it. You do want to talk about it. In fact, you're probably talking people's ears off. Am I right? Like, I know I do. And so I think if you're coming from this sense of purpose, that is the first part of consistency. Because if you love to do it, theoretically, we'll show up for the things that we love, right? So I think the first real mindset shift with consistency is your why, okay? So, I have the Divine Feminine Revolution podcast. Go check out that YouTube channel or the podcast directly. And my why there is to help women learn to start a business, follow their passions, get out of the matrix, and help heal the world in their own special way using their gifts and talents. And hello, make some money along the way, right? Because we do need some of that. So I think when we're talking consistency, we need to know our why. Okay. So for me, doing the 75 hard, I really want to create better health habits. And it did kind of get to a moment where, as my husband so eloquently put it, instead of frittering our life away, doing maybe self destructive things, instead we're trying to hold on to it and, in fact, repair maybe some of the previous damage we've done. So if you're like me and this is part of your like midlife hustle to, be healthy after maybe a little too long as a party girl, then I think we wanted to know our why. And so in the days when it gets hard and I don't want to do it, I think about I made this commitment to myself. I want these results. I want this lifestyle. I want this new identity shift. And so in your business, that's why a mission statement generally is one of the first steps there. Because when times get hard, you want to go to your why to remind yourself, I got this. Let's stick it through, all that good stuff. Okay, the next one. If you are a creative like me, you probably suffer from shiny object syndrome. You get bored doing the same thing. Boredom is your kryptonite. And that actually can be a really great thing in business, and it can create a lot of shifting. Okay, so if you've changed your business name 100 times, guilty. If you've burned down businesses or programs, guilty. You'll know what I mean. Okay, the shiny object syndrome really can do us in. And so the consistency killer is doing too much. Okay, so this is really a problem of capacity, and I think we have to be real with ourselves. What is our capacity? When I was first starting my psychologist private practice, I was fresh out of school, I was a newlywed, I became pregnant right away, and then next thing I know, I'm a mom boss. And so my capacity throughout my 30s was really about how do I have a successful business and be the kind of mom that I want to be and wife. Um, and so, really being able to have both. And I was just talking with a new mom client earlier today, and she was like, I feel like I'm going to do both badly. And I think that that sometimes is the corporate trade off. If you have to work 40 hours or even more, it's really hard to like balance the thing. I think life work balance often is a myth, even if you're an entrepreneur. Again, going back to the why though, you've got this passionate piece that's there to kind of see you through the times where you're doing too much. So, this year in my online business, I really scaled back. I had to pull back from service delivery and making some money to really go back and do systems, to automate, to really, this came at a time where my dad was going through cancer treatment. And I was just a really personally hard time. And I realized the business did not exist without me. And so I pulled back, I hired a team, and I really started to create systems. How can I automate these things? And it feels so amazing when my podcast goes live and I didn't do it, when someone can buy something from me and I can just receive the money without having anything. And I want that for you too. So stay tuned for some more stuff on the channel. And if you want, join Fearless Feminine, and we'll really get into how you can create a business that feels aligned for you and fits the season in your life, fits your why, and prevents you from doing too much. Because if you're like me and you overcomplicate, right? It's so easy to do, right? And especially if you're on the online space, there's so many shiny objects that can kind of keep us thinking, sort of addicted to taking the next course or the next new platform or the next new system, or I have to buy this, or I have to get another certification, right? I know I've been there, I'm sure you have as well. So the next part is commitment. And I think that this is huge. And for me, it's been really interesting running two businesses simultaneously because the commitment to my online business, ultimately, I would like that to be my only business. And my psychology business has still been a big income source. And so I was just talking about this again with a client around the difference between like if you have to make it, like that's your sole gig versus a side hustle. And so, like a side piece energy, it's not the most alluring energy. And when you have to and you have no other choice, I know when I was starting my very first business as a psychologist, I thought, well, if it for some reason doesn't work, at least I'll have known I've gone for my dreams. And so I think that that's the first commitment. Um, Often, if you're someone like myself who's a serial entrepreneur or has multiple businesses, you really have to figure out what is your commitment. So for me, I am okay with slow and steady growth, and that really is the consistency paradigm, right? So the commitment piece is good because if you're not committed, then it's easy to drop out when things get hard. So are you seeing the through line here? A lot of it is from a DBT perspective, what we would call distress tolerance. As a business owner, you have to be able to tolerate distress because it's super uncomfortable. You're visible, people are judging you. There's lots of fears that can come up. There's lots of amazing things like time freedom, the laptop lifestyle, like making lots of money, fulfilling your sole purpose. But there is that like critique factor that keeps a lot of people staying small. And then the final piece is systems. So as I mentioned in my journey, I scaled back a bit and was really focused on building a team and systems, and that has served me so well. Highly recommend. I do think you sort of need to be at a certain point where you know what your product is and what you're doing to be able to set up all of that on the back end. But that has served me so well. And I think a general consistency piece is hiring to your weaknesses. So, like, hire an accountant if you don't like numbers, hire a bookkeeper. Like, if you're not creative, hire a designer. If you're you know, not good with copy, hire a copywriter. Like literally you could hire anybody. And so definitely hire to your weaknesses. And I think that's part of building the systems there. And so systems just help to organize, which is a big part of consistency. If you're neurodiverse or ADHD, organization can kind of feel like a dirty word, but it doesn't have to, right? That's the part of the system. So probably there's just a system that's missing if you're feeling disorganized. A lot of it is about routines. There's a lot of programs that can track and manage a lot of your work tasks. So if you really want to embody the CEO, we want to like kind of put you outside of the business. And as we say, work to your zone of genius. So if it's the creativity piece, if it's the service delivery, if it's making products, if it's YouTubing, whatever it is, do that and then hire the team to support you with all the other stuff. So I hope this 4-part framework was helpful for you. I do want to end with a little tapping piece and then got to go get my daughter from school. So if you're new to tapping, check out Emotional Freedom Technique. There's like a zillion videos on YouTube. The easy way that we would do it is this karate chop. And so you're wanting to kind of activate this part right here. Or there's these little like sore points. You can kind of just feel around until you hit that spot that feels kind of tender. You can also tap here. There is also like this thing, which you can do. Um, but for beginners, I like the karate chop, and it feels, I think for consistency, it just feels kind of like CEO-ish, right? So do whichever one works for you. Since this is just a quick one, we're gonna just do the karate chop there. And if you've never done emotional freedom technique, it basically starts with like, even though, and then you kind of fill in the objection, the distress, the stressor, the trigger. And then you end with, I deeply love and accept myself. So here we go. Let's do a little bit together. Tap along with me. So even though I used to think that consistency was a dirtier word, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I was afraid I would never make it as an entrepreneur, I deeply love and accepted myself. Even though I sometimes feel flaky and super disorganized, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm a neurodiverse business owner, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I have shiny object syndrome, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I get bored easily and I don't finish projects, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I feel like consistency is boring and masculine, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm hard on myself when I make a mistake, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I know it's inevitable that I'm going to mess up, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm scared to screw up in front of other people, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I feel like routine is cagey, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I get killjoy from monotonous activities, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I am doing too much, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm stressed and frazzled, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I feel like my business isn't as successful as I want to be, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm anxious, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I feel like every day looks different, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I have been practicing self neglect and not been showing up for myself, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I am sometimes negative and feel like the worst is going to happen, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid to launch, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I might be scared to show up on camera, I deeply love and accept myself. So I hope that was helpful for you. You can, of course, customize this, put in your own special triggers, your own fears, your own doubts and insecurities, and tap those away. And it really helps to regulate your nervous system, which is a big part of getting out of fight or flight. And I can tell you, I did a business for many years out of fight or flight, and it was successful, but it was not sustainable. So I want to give you these tools so that you don't have to go through that and you can create a business your own way. Come see me for Fearless Feminine. See you next time. Bye.